Georgia's President Salome Zurabishvili has rejected the results of this weekend's parliamentary elections and accused Russia of interference in Georgia's political process. Supporters of the Georgian opposition have been rallying outside the country's parliament after the ruling pro-Moscow Georgian Dream party was declared the winner with nearly 54% of the vote. Opposition parties and the president are urging Georgians to join the protests. The EU, US and election observers have called for an investigation into alleged irregularities. DW's Yuri Reshetto spoke to Georgian President Salome Zurabishvili in her office in Tbilisi. He asked why she doesn't recognize the result of the election.
Well, first of all, the international observer missions do not condemn the legality of elections so close to the elections. They still have a lot to receive as information. Our own local observers have been very clear about the amount of incidents and the information I have received about the sophistication and the numerous forms of frauds that have been used drives me to have made the declaration that I made yesterday. Because the results go against the long trend of all the opinion polls that we've had in this country, especially since the Russian law and the protests on the streets, that show that the population wants to keep its European path and was supporting the pro-European forces. So this is an election that has been stolen, and I think that the Georgian people on the streets will confirm this judgment.
That was Georgian President Salome Zurabishvili. DW correspondent Maria Katamadze joins us now from outside the Georgian parliament, where opposition supporters are rallying. Maria, tell us more about these protests and what the opposition hopes to achieve.
Thousands of people indeed have gathered at the Georgian parliament, and I can see that people are still coming to the parliament square. Now, the pro-Western president Salome Zurabishvili said that, addressed the public saying that, quote, your vote were stolen. That's what she said at the Parliament Square. She said that you did not lose the elections, rather the vote was stolen, and they tried to steal your future, and no one has the right to do that, and we will not allow that. That was her statement here. She arrived at the Parliament Square after the consultations that she had with the oppositional parties and Western ambassadors. What's interesting that Hungary's Viktor Orban arrived in Tbilisi tonight, and he also came to the hotel where these meetings were taking place. He was booed by the thousands of protesters that gathered outside the hotels. Now, it's still unclear whether Orban had an opportunity to talk to the oppositional politicians or the president, but it was seen by many as sort of an attempt to sort of legitimize these elections that many Western politicians are calling, to investigate the so-called election irregularities. Now, we understand that tomorrow the Prime Minister from Georgian Dream Party is going to hold official meetings with Viktor Orban, while the German ambassador in this country said that Viktor Orban is does not represent the EU with this visit, but rather Hungarian government.
We've heard that the Georgian president alleges that Russian pressure was responsible for the Georgian Dream victory. Have we seen any evidence that the vote was actually tampered with?
Now, before the elections and long before the elections, Salome Zurabishvili called the government, the Georgian Dream government, Russian government. She's been accusing the ruling party of having ties with Russia. And if we look at the party a bit closer, the leading sort of politician, the founder of the party, Bidzina Ivanishvili, he made his fortune in Russia in the 90s, and many critics are increasingly sort of distrustful of his sort of connections that he might have with the Kremlin. Now, Personally, for us, these connections are still quite murky, but the president did not really sort of put any hard proofs that there is a Russian involvement, and the Kremlin spokesperson has denied those involvement. But Zurabishvili claims that the Georgian Dream Party has actually collaborated with the Russian intelligences. Very strong accusations we've been hearing from the president, indeed.
Maria, thank you very much. That's DW correspondent Maria Katamadze reporting from those opposition protests in Georgia. Sonja, Katharina Schiffers heads the South Caucasus office of the Heinrich Boell Foundation in Tbilisi, Georgia. That's a think tank linked to Germany's Green Party. Welcome to DW. Can I first get your reaction to the Georgian president's claims of Russian interference in the election?
Yeah, hello from Tbilisi. Well, I think we have to see this in a broader context because everything that happens in this region politically is related or influenced in some way by Russia. And the Georgian Dream has for 12 years already followed a policy of normalization of especially economic relations with Russia, which has led to significant dependencies on the Russian market. And of course, indirectly, Russia plays a major role because of that. But also, Russia de facto occupies 20% of the Georgian territory. And the Georgian Dream ruling party has led a campaign that was focused on war versus peace rhetoric. So if you vote for us, we will keep the peace because of our good relations with Russia. But if you vote for the opposition, you'll get another war.
So we're not talking about any direct interference from Moscow?
I personally have not seen any Russian support for falsification of votes, but I don't think this is needed. What I have seen is a lot of statements in the past couple of weeks and months from the Kremlin, which has supported the course of the Georgian ruling party, both when it came to the adoption of this foreign agent law, which the Georgian parliament, Georgian ruling party has adopted, but also discrediting, for example, the election observation missions, the ODIHR mission, accusing them of interference in the elections. I think this is a sort of political interference. If there was also a more direct interference in the election process, I don't know, but I assume that those who have interfered with the process here, or what looks like they have interfered, they know how to do this, and I don't know if they need Russian support.
Videos were circulating on Sunday of ballot boxes being stuffed. Have we seen any hard evidence that the vote was actually tampered with?
Yes, there has been a lot of evidence of violations reported by both international and local missions. One of the biggest concerns was that in many polling stations there were doubts about the secrecy of the vote. There had also been kind of disinformation campaigns that the vote, because of the new digital vote counting technology, that it could be traced who voted for which party. So there was this fear that vote secrecy was not ensured. Also, there were coordinators in many places, coordinators from the side of the ruling party, checking who would come to the vote, telling people whom to vote for. There were cases of voter bribery that were documented. There were some suspicious cases of IDs being collected ahead of the vote. So some of this is still being investigated. But what is also very important and relevant is there was a statistical analysis provided by an observer which showed that the share of votes for the ruling party was disproportionately high in the regions, especially in those areas where the turnout was very high. And this suggests that people were bussed to polling stations to vote for the ruling party, or put under pressure in those districts to vote for the ruling party. And again, that the vote was not completely free and fair.
Thank you for that analysis. That's Sonja Katharina Schiffers from the Heinrich Boell Foundation in Tbilisi.
Thank you.